888-979-94-1 and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. As deliberations continue in the Trump criminal trial, White House correspondent Greg Clugston takes a look at just who is on the jury.
The main jury includes 7 men and 5 women. There are also 6 alternate jurors who have listened to the testimony but won't join in the deliberations unless one of the main jurors needs to drop out or is removed. Members of the panel come from various professional backgrounds, including a software engineer, a teacher, a speech therapist, multiple lawyers, and an investment banker. Jurors' names are not being publicly released. Greg Clugston, New York.
Mr. Trump spoke outside court this morning.
This case should have been filed. It should not have been filed, or at a minimum, it should have been filed 7 years ago. It's 7 years old. Everybody turned it down, including federal elections turned it down. Southern District turned it down. Bragg turned it down. Then he rejuvenated it when I was running for office.
Meanwhile, the deliberations are continuing. Also at townhall.com, voters in the blue state of Virginia are leaning more and more towards supporting Donald Trump in the 2024 election. Correspondent Bob Agnew with more in this report.
The latest good news for Trump comes courtesy of a Roanoke College survey of likely voters. Now evenly split at 42% who say they'll vote for Trump, 42% for Biden in a head-to-head matchup. Add in third-party candidates, and Biden would gain a slight advantage, 40 to 38%. In the same poll, less than two-thirds, just 63%, said Biden won the 2020 election fair and square. More than a third said Biden won because of irregularities in the election. Bob Agnew reporting.
And on Wall Street, the Dow losing 293 points, the NASDAQ off 112. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Everyone knows the old saying, nothing lasts forever. Well, whoever said that obviously never bought a timeshare. Not only do your maintenance fees and assessment fees go on forever, they go up forever. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Over 10 years ago, I was a timeshare salesman. But once I saw the dark side of the business, I quit. I started helping folks get out of their timeshares. Since then, we've helped over 30,000 families by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-213-5757. 800-213-5757.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Our fantastic stretch of weather continues this afternoon. Temperatures peak in the lower 80s and then drop through the 70s this evening. We're dry and mostly clear overnight tonight, a morning low near 60 on Friday. Now be ready for some rain west of St. Louis Friday afternoon, but it'll take its time moving into the metro. Friday's high 82 with steady showers and some rumbles moving into St. Louis in the evening and nighttime hours, lingering into Saturday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shady.
This hour of Colombo and Katie brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com. Tony Colombo.
Libertarianism is all about individual liberty.
Katie Fitzpatrick.
Oh, good for you.
Colombo and Katie on News Talk STL.
Time to rise has been engaged with better best to rearrange. I'm talking here to me alone. I listen to the finest word song, the finest hour, the finest hour.
Hello and welcome to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Thursday afternoon on a week that I've been confused about what day it is every single day, but I'm pretty sure it's Thursday, and thank you for being here with us.
It is Thursday.
Thursday
95% positive.
and a packed show today. We are going to get a market update. The markets have been bad. It's been a bad go, and as you guys know, there's one area that I need help in. It's understanding is the financial sector. Like I get the basics. I understand what's happening, but I need help understanding everything. And that is why we have David Ryan from Cadre Asset Management on our team. And he's going to join us at about 3:25 this afternoon to give us an update and some, explanation, some reasoning about what's going on with the financial sector and the markets today. Also, we're going to talk to Dr. Randy Tobler in just about an hour, just after 3:00. And it being pest season, bad time for bugs right now. I'm hearing a lot of people complaining. I know, I won't say his name because I don't know if I was given permission, but somebody that works here was having some ant issues, I know, and I've heard some other people, complaining about ants and wasps and things like that. It's that time of year, so our buddy Derek from All Solutions Pest Control is going to be with us at about 2:45 this afternoon to help prevent that from happening at your house. And of course, All Solutions, we keep their service all year round because every season brings a different possible pest threat to your home. But this time of year, the beginning of summer or late spring, this is like the worst time for all of it. Mosquitoes, ants, wasps.
Our backyard is a feeding ground for just every type of bug you can imagine.
Spiders, another one that's, this time of year. So you're looking forward to talking to Derek from All Solutions Pest Control in just a few minutes. I wonder how many calls we'll have to ask him. I wonder how many calls he got about cicadas.
Oh, yeah. How to get rid of these things?
Like you can get rid of 1.5 million cicadas.
Smithereens.
1.5 million per acre or whatever the crazy number is.
I finally had a cicada thud into me. Yeah. I have yet to have, like, they're everywhere. They're all over my backyard. But I have yet to have, like, one land on me or whatever. Maeve and I were walking around in the backyard because she's Mrs. Explorer right now.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And one just came out of nowhere, swooped down from a tree, and just thudded right on my face. And I'm like, oh.
They have not been a big deal at our house.
I don't understand how that's possible.
At all.
I don't get it.
At all. We have some on the tree in our backyard. There's none in our front yard. There's none really in our neighborhood.
That
doesn't make a lot
possible.
There's not a lot of noise in the evening.
My gosh.
But yeah, I mean, anywhere else I go, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe our neighborhood doesn't have the right kind of trees or something. I don't know what it is.
Protective barrier known as All Solutions Pest Control over the
maybe that's it. Maybe they just missed that one tree in the backyard. Yeah, for whatever reason, it has not been. We were all bracing for this invasion. Not in our neighborhood.
Lucky SOB.
All right. Before we talk to Derek at 2:45, let's dive into some of the headlines of the day. It's a bad day. I would say another bad day for Joe Biden as a new poll is out, and it suggests that Joe is losing support with one of the key voting demographics for him and the Democratic Party, that being younger voters. This poll was released today from NPR and PBS. I don't think anybody's going to accuse this poll of being a conservative biased poll. Poll released today from NPR and PBS shows that Biden has 50% of the 18 to 29-year-old vote for the upcoming election. These are 18 to 29-year-olds across the country that describe themselves as likely to vote in the election Biden has support exactly half, 50%. Trump is just 1 point behind at 49%. And if you add in the other candidates, so that's in a one-on-one matchup where Joe has 50% and Trump has 49%. If you add in the other candidates, Trump takes the lead with 44% of the vote. Biden goes down to 40%. RFK Jr. gets 8%. Jill Stein gets 3%, and Cornel West gets 2%. The reason that this is real bad for Joe is because that he beat Trump by 20 points in that demographic in 2020. So this is a demographic that Democrats and specifically Joe Biden dominated in 2020. And now it's a toss-up at best for him, maybe losing the younger vote now. It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing. This is, I feel like, not this exact poll, but you could put this poll up against so many other demographics and possibly get the same result, a similar result, I'll say. And I think the clip you played yesterday of Jilly Bean on with The View, the beginning of the question that was asked of Dr. Jilly Bean was, we're seeing all of these polls by all of these different outlets about how low Biden is in the polling. And we want to know why that's happening, what you guys are doing about that, and what your response is to something like that. I mean, this was that question. Yeah. You guys were dominating in the polls in 2019 and 2020. And now all of a sudden, all of these people are gone and they're making a choice to actively vote for Trump.
And there is no explanation when she's asked that because she says it's not happening.
Yeah.
There's no explanation because they won't admit that that's even true. He's not behind. She literally said after that swing state poll came out about a month ago, and I can't remember what channel she was on. I can't remember who was the one that asked her. But like that poll had just come out and it showed Biden losing in like 7 of the 8 swing states. And the person said he's losing in these states. And she said, no, he's not. No, he's not. Those are wrong.
Yeah.
So you don't even get to what are you going to do about it or what's your explanation? They won't even admit that it's a real. So doesn't sound like a good strategy to me.
It doesn't sound like a good strategy. A better strategy would have been if Dr. Jill was like, polls are polls. They fluctuate. Maybe some say this time, maybe some say something different. Like that would have been instead of denying the fact that the polls are speaking, just say that they are flexible and they fluctuate.
Yeah.
But I will say that even though polls do have an ebb and flow, there is something consistent, and that is doubtfulness in this president. That is not feeling confident in the abilities of this president.
For sure. Yeah. Any polling, especially today, I feel like polling is less reliable than maybe ever. But when it's consistent across the board, if this was one poll, one time that showed something different than any other poll, then I probably wouldn't even be talking about it. It wouldn't even really be news. But when it's every poll, every time across the board
for months
from different organizations, especially NPR and PBS that show this, I think that starts to paint a very realistic picture. And as you just touched on, it's every demographic that the Democrats count on are leaving them in droves. The black vote, the Hispanic vote, now the young vote, all of these traditionally Democratic demographics are leaving. I don't know about leaving. I don't know if they're leaving the Democratic Party or if they're just leaving Joe Biden specifically. but they're leaving.
There was something that happened again. I keep referring back to that clip. If you guys didn't hear the show yesterday, please go back and listen to it. Tony played a clip from Dr. Jill Biden, Jilly Bean, on The View. It's so great. There was another part of this clip that I've been thinking about all day, and that was Dr. Jilly Bean Biden was asked, what is the strategy for Joe Biden to try to gain these people's trust and votes back? Tony, she didn't have a strategy. All she said was he's going to go on college campuses more. He's going to, and you caught this, he's going to go out more when whenever he can. She was going to say when he's able or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was no hard line. There was no talking points that outlined a strategy and a stance that he can take to gain these votes back. Going on college campuses isn't going to do squat, specifically because a lot of these valedictorians are having these anti-Semitic, pro-Palestinian protests, and they don't want to hear from Joe Biden. So what's he going to do?
Yep. Yeah, that was that moment yesterday where she started to, I swear, she started to say, when he's able, and then caught herself and then changed the sentence because it sounded like when he can get out of bed, or when the medicine's working.
In between lunch and
he's
pudding,
going to be out there.
He can come out.
One more thing about this poll, it also indicated that less than a quarter of young voters, again, this is voters between 18 and 29, less than a quarter of younger voters approve of the job Joe Biden is doing as president, and also shows that more than 6 in 10 hold an unfavorable opinion of the president, and Trump has a favorable rating in this poll with 49% to 42%. So it's written funny. I don't know why they wrote it like that, but Biden's approval is less. He's got 6 in 10. So that's 60%. I don't know why it doesn't just say like that. More than 60% unfavorable opinion. And Trump has 49 to 42% favorable over unfavorable rating with younger voters in this poll. That's bad. That's bad news for Joe.
It's bad news. And these people are, again, when you see a video like we saw of all of Trump's rallies for the last 2 weeks, and you see people flooding in, you give this stat. Bronx was supposed to be 3,000. It was 25,000. And so Wisconsin, I mean, you name it. He goes to a state, people flood it. And when you're a younger person and you scroll through TikTok or you scroll through your Instagram reels and you see Trump bringing in a diverse array of people, that speaks volumes.
It's funny that you mentioned that rally, because also today, the Biden campaign scolded MSNBC and CNN, their buddies, for covering the Trump trial over a Biden rally. President Biden's re-election campaign scolded MSNBC and CNN last night for ignoring what apparently was called the Black Voters for Biden-Harris rally in Philadelphia. Because the networks were busy covering the New York v. Trump trial. During the rally that occurred, I guess, yesterday, the Biden promised to nominate progressives to the Supreme Court if he wins a second term. While Trump's historic trial dominated the news cycle for weeks, at least one Biden campaign staffer felt MSNBC and CNN should have cut away to show the president's rally. The Biden campaign posted this on Twitter, quote, "The president just spoke to approximately 1,000 mostly black voters in Philly about the massive stakes in this election. At MSNBC, at CNN, and others did not show it. Instead, more coverage about a trial that impacts just one person, Trump. It's not only is it funny that they're bragging about a rally that had about 1,000 people at it when Trump just did 25,000 in the Bronx, but also how telling is it that they specifically, they don't say the media, they specifically call out MSNBC and CNN. Like, you guys are supposed to be on our side. You guys are supposed to be on Biden's team. Like, this is the boldness of that is one thing. And then I'm not sure you really want to brag about that rally because, again, it makes Biden look a lot less popular.
There's nothing
than Donald
to
Trump.
brag about, though, Tony. This
Right.
is a reflection. They're mad at CNN and MSNBC for not being able to squeeze the lemon to make lemonade. They're mad that they cannot have the friendly networks take the 1,000 people at the Biden rally and make it into something that is worthwhile. The reality is this. Joe Biden has never been able to bring out people. That's why COVID was an opportunity for him. He has never been able to garnish people to come out, to garner people to come out and rally with him. He has never been, people have never been enthusiastic about him. The only reason why people were happy that Joe Biden was running, because they were sick of Trump. They weren't happy it was Joe Biden. They just said anybody but Trump. And now this is the reflection of it. This is the aftermath.
And I can't believe that was even okay to send that out to specifically scold MSNBC and CNN. Like, you guys are supposed to be on our team. You guys are supposed to be part of our campaign. Why are you covering Trump when you should be giving Biden all the airtime?
Yeah, why can't you make something out of this Biden thing?
Not even hiding it.
Nope.
Not even hiding it. And even CNN and MSNBC, who usually do cover everything and carry water for Joe Biden, said, nobody's going to watch. If we cut away, if we go to this rally, this Biden rally, everybody's going to change the channel. So we cannot do it. So even the networks that probably wanted, those two networks probably wanted to cover it and probably wanted to give Biden the airtime, just couldn't, because they know that nobody cares, and nobody's watching.
No one cares.
Yeah. And don't brag about a rally that had about 1,000 people at it.
You can't
on
anymore.
the heels of Donald Trump having 25,000.
You can't.
In the Bronx. I'm so happy that you have been thinking about Jilly Bean.
I have.
Ever since yesterday's show, because she's back in the news today.
Oh, gosh.
I got another one. She was torn up on social media today for that interview that you were just talking about that we covered yesterday on The View. Yesterday, she was also on Good Morning America, bragging about how calm and steady Joe Biden is.
I did see that.
And social media is reminding Jilly Bean about how not calm and steady Joe has been since being president and even before. So I'm so glad you've been focused on Jill, because we've got another story. Also, the Supreme Court made a what I think it was an amazing historic ruling today, unanimous decision, which is even a bigger deal, that was in support of the NRA. So I'll explain that ruling and the details of that also as we continue through Colombo and Katie here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Colombo and Katie.
We should always find times to express how we feel about the moment that is a reflection of joy. It comes in the morning.
All the crazy fights we had,
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
Been a lot of weather out there lately. A lot of not just rain, but a lot of violent, a lot of severe weather out there. And if your gutters are not working properly through a season like this, it can be very bad. It can be very bad for your home. It can be very bad for the base of your house. It can be very bad for the siding and the fascia and the soffit and some of the wood and, side of your house up there near the roof. And that is why the Gutter Pros are such an important team to keep in mind, especially this time of year. Gutter Pros, of course, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We have seen this at our house firsthand. Our issue was a dented gutter that we inherited from the previous owner of the home. We had leaky gutters that were causing water to pool up at the base of the house. If we would have went through this storm season before we got that taken care of, before we called the Gutter Pros, for sure, we would have had a even bigger problem with water leaking in our home, because anytime it rained, we had a giant pool of water form right at the base of our house, right in front of a basement window. And it was only a matter of time before that problem turned into a larger one than it already was. And thanks to the Gutter Pros, we avoided that completely. I mentioned I was just up on our roof this past weekend, and it's not very often that you up there and you get that up close and personal look. It's was the first time that I've been up there since they made those repairs, which was almost 2 years ago. And the leaf protection, the gutters, everything just look absolutely fantastic. Like they were just like that work was just done last week. I mean, just the quality of work is just absolutely awesome. So whether it be gutter repair, new gutter installation, leaf protection, or siding, Gutter Pros does it all. So if you have an issue with your gutters at your home or your business, you need to call the Gutter Pros now. You can call them at 314-656-7195 or just go to gutterpros.com.
Caring for a loved one is stressful. It's an emotional time, and we want our loved ones to get the quality of care they deserve. But the cost of long-term care is expensive. In the St. Louis area, it could be $60,000, $70,000, or even over $100,000. Can your savings handle this added expense? Fortunately, News Talk STL listeners have an expert right here. Financial strategist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management shows families tax-efficient strategies to fund care needs. Whether planning in advance, have health concerns, or living in a care community today, solutions exist to fund the quality of care you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Visit SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
The Jefferson City Report, brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Katie on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. All right. Jelly Bean, 2 days in a row. I wonder.
All day, every day.
I wonder how much of a role the First Lady is going to play in this election and this campaign going forward. If Joe's medicine isn't working,
Yeah.
do you think that she will be somebody that we see doing more interviews, maybe speaking at events and rallies more often? Because I think from all the reports, all the stories that we have read over the last 4 years about the White House, I think that Jill thinks that she is the best person to represent Joe. That she's the one that she's the best at defending him, that she's the best at highlighting his strengths and bragging about him. I think that she thinks, I'm not saying that she is all these things.
Right.
I'm saying that, and this is from, reading many, many stories and reports about what it's like inside the White House and what it's like inside the Biden team, that Jill thinks that she's the one, that understands him the best and can speak for him the best and can explain and defend him the best. So if he's not at the top of his game, I could definitely see her pressuring the campaign people, saying, put me out there. I'm the one that needs to be out there talking for him.
I think that's absolutely correct. We know that she has a big ego. We know that she is someone that loves the idea of Biden relying heavily on her. But the problem with what
she loves being first lady.
She does. She loves it, loves it, loves it. But the problem with her idea of who she is and what is actually happening is that her idea is that she thinks she's the next Michelle Obama. And in actuality, she doesn't even hold candle. I mean,
even with Democrat voters,
she doesn't.
And progressive, that with that crowd, Michelle was a goddess. She was a queen.
The queen. Yes, she was Queen Bee.
She is. Jill, to your point, is not nearly as popular with the liberal crowd as Michelle Obama.
This might even be a step further that could be harsh, but I also think Jill absolutely hates that they are the first administration with a female vice president, because it overshadows
her
anything that Jill could possibly accomplish. That sounds harsh. I think she loves the accolades that come with being, I think she loves the accolades, but in Jill's reality, in her pool, now she is competing with Kamala Harris for the spotlight on a constant basis.
That's a great point.
I think she really is mad.
I could definitely see that. And I just wonder, maybe it's just because she's been busy in the last 24 hours with these multiple interviews. Maybe this is maybe this is an anomaly. Maybe this is not a sign of things to come. But I just wonder if she's going to play a much larger role in publicly campaigning for Joe. And I don't think that helps him.
But who's coming out to see Dr. Jill
Nobody.
Biden?
Nobody.
I mean, she's pulling as many people as Biden is. Again, she's no Michelle Obama.
No. And I don't think that she does him any favors. I don't think that she does make him look better.
No.
At all.
She just seems like a wife that has rose-colored glasses on about her husband.
And she seems angry.
Yeah.
And impatient with any criticism, any questions. She does not, neither does Joe. Does not like to be questioned.
No.
Does not like to be pressed on anything. Does not like to be presented with any type of bad news.
This is the perfect storm of this administration.
So yesterday we talked about and played some sound from her interview with The View, where it was all of that same old, just dodging questions and pretending like there's nothing wrong. She also yesterday was on Good Morning America, where she said, quote, "We have a choice. This is what I'm out there saying. We have a choice. We can have my husband, who is calm and steady and strong and has character and integrity, or we have the other choice, which is chaotic. We have to decide democracy or chaos." That specific comment has drawn tons of criticism and backlash on social media from people skeptical of the portrayal of Joe Biden as calm and steady. As I mentioned, we've talked about this a lot on the show. Biden has been criticized, documented, reported on many times for losing his cool, being the opposite of calm and steady in recent years. Here's just a few examples of those reports. In 2019, during the campaign, he appeared to call an Iowa man fat and a damn liar. Listen here, fat.
Look, fat. Look,
You're a damn liar. I can't believe you had that ready. That was really good. Since becoming president, there have been multiple reports of him being prone to angry outbursts at staff and others when not in the public eye. A report last year detailed how he had referred to former President Trump as a effing a-hole and a sick F.
Oh my God.
An Axios report, I remember when this one came out, and I remember talking about it on the air, and an Axios report detailed how Biden has such a temper that aides do everything they can to not meet with him alone. Remember that? Remember we talked about that whenever a White House staff member has a meeting with the president, that they, if at all possible, bring at least one other person with them, because they feel like there's less of a chance of getting cussed at and screamed at if there's multiple people in the room. So they said that in fear of they try not to meet him alone in fear of facing his wrath. He was quoted as yelling at staff things like, quote, "God blanket, how the F don't you know this?" And "Don't effing BS me," and "Get the F out of here." One administration official told Axios in that report that no one is safe.
Yeah.
Quote, "No one is safe from the president's temper." Another report said that when President Biden was told his handling of the war between Israel and Hamas was starting to affect his poll numbers, he began to shout and swear at staffers in the room. So all of this has been going on since even before he was president. All of these reports about how unstable he is and how
unhinged,
quick his temper is, and how vulgar he is. And then yesterday, Jill's on television saying that we have a choice, and that that Joe is the calm and steady one. So she's just been absolutely roasted, and people are taking quotes and screenshots of all of these different reports from the White House and posting them.
There's something that makes me laugh, though, thinking about him calling Trump like an effing A, or just like totally talking smack about Trump, like in an old man grumpy, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take his lunch
Yeah.
or whatever he says, the no malarkey stuff.
No malarkey. I'm gonna take what was it? I'm gonna take him out back behind
Beat
the
him like a
barn or something.
drum.
Take him out behind the bleachers or something like
Yeah.
that.
Beat him like a drum. It just is like, what? Okay, what is that, first of all? But there's also a lot of Democrats, I'm sure, that are like, my God,
Mhm.
what are all of these? Why are all of these reports coming out about the behavior
Mm-hmm.
from this side of the aisle? Because Trump, they were like, oh, Trump, staffers turning away every single day. Remember, I bring this up all the time because I bring it up all the time because it's so important. Remember all the leaks about the Trump administration that happened every day? There were
Mhm.
like 4 leaks a day for
Mhm.
months on end about the Trump administration.
Mhm.
Donald Trump was caught
Yeah.
talking to a staffer inappropriately,
Yeah.
cussing at blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was such a crime.
He doesn't like this person. This person's about to leave. This
Crime
person's
against
about to go.
humanity. Now there's no more leaks. There's nothing to be said. But we're getting these reports about the behavior of this
Mhm.
president. And I'm
Mhm.
sure the Democrats are like, didn't realize we were going to be this exposed.
Mhm.
Didn't know the curtains were going to be opened up to this White House.
And people that want to, I'm sure the White House's answer, and because it has been to some of these reports, is that they're uncredible because they're always anonymous quotes because they work at the
Yeah.
White House. They're not gonna put their name
No.
on it if they're already getting cussed at on a daily basis. What happened? I mean,
Abuse.
of course they're not going to put their name on it, but that gives the White House the cover of saying, "Oh, these are made up, fake news, unsubstantiated. Nobody's there's nobody's name. Anybody could be saying that, without putting their name on it. It could be coming from anywhere." But one, we talked earlier about polls and how they're not that reliable unless there's a whole bunch of consistency. One, there's tons of consistency in all of these reports. And two, you can see it with your own eyes. He never has that type of outburst at a press conference or publicly, but you can tell
He's on the edge of
right
it.
on the edge.
He's
You
right
can,
there.
You can see it. You can see that
With
he
his
has
own voters.
no patience. He has no patience for people like Peter Ducey or anybody else that asks him a hard question. And he's like, started to go. Remember, like he was talking to I think it was in Michigan to union people, and somebody like asked him a question. It was like, but Mr. President, what about the? And he goes, and Joe goes, like
yeah.
in his face. He
Mocked
goes,
him.
you okay, buddy? You okay, pal? Can't answer your question, can you? Like he just. And then he stopped because he realizes he's losing it.
Yeah, it's a
and
little
the
too much.
son of a bitch thing about Peter
Mhm.
Ducey when he hot mic situation, you can see it. It's right behind his eyes.
It goes to the thing that you talked to Mark Close and Skip Weber about the other day. You hit a certain age and you don't give a rip. You hit
42.
He's in his 80s. He hasn't given a rip for 40 years. The man hasn't cared for 40
Right.
years, and now it's just become a perfect tornado storm.
That survey Katie's talking about was a survey we talked with Mark and Skip yesterday about during Close's Cabinet about a survey came out, or a report came out that shows that people after the age of 42, you start to turn negative.
Sour.
You start to go
sour.
You start to go negative.
That's
And
been happening for a long time.
If
for
that's
Biden.
true, Joe's got 4 decades of
Mad.
negativity behind him. All right, we got more to talk about as we go through the afternoon. I want to get into this Supreme Court ruling regarding the NRA today, which is actually good news for once. So we will get into that. We are also going to get a check on the markets. It's been a bad few days, and we are going to get an update about those things from David Ryan from Cadre Asset Management about 3:25 this afternoon. We're going to talk to Dr. Randy Tobler just after 3 o'clock. And we are going to shift gears for just a moment. It is pest season in the St. Louis area here, late spring, early summer. And if you are having a pest issue at your home or just want to prevent that from happening, don't go anywhere, because our buddy Derek from All Solutions Pest Control is going to join us next on Colombo and Katie.
She's so sweet with her get back stare.
You're listening to Colombo and Katie.
Nobody can do it like me. Nobody.
Number one for live and local conservative talk. News Talk STL.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show. National headlines and things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define.
Join me every Sunday at 10 p.m. right here on News Talk STL.
I love to tell people about Jeremiah Burpo and his company, A+ Plumbing and Drain, because Jeremiah has been our family plumber and a friend for years, and more than just about anybody that I can think of has helped us out, bailed us out of bad situations over the years. When you have a plumbing issue at your home or business, and you're not a plumber, that is something that you can just feel absolutely helpless in that moment, especially if it's an emergency. And that is why I am so thankful for Jeremiah and his team at A+ Plumbing and Drain, because they are the best. They are a local family-owned business that built their company. Jeremiah built this company and his reputation off of word of mouth. I mean, like I said, he was our plumber before there even was an A+ Plumbing and Drain. And he has built that company on referrals and word of mouth and reputation. And that is just, to me, the best type of company you could possibly support. A+ Plumbing and Drain specializes in new construction and home renovation. So if you have a big plumbing project, they are definitely the team to call. But they can also, of course, take care of all of your plumbing needs, from the very serious and complicated all the way down to little things like replacing a sink faucet. So call A+ for your next plumbing project. You can call them at 636-288-7126 or learn more and contact them through Facebook. A+ Plumbing and Drain on Facebook.
Missouri education officials must be bad poker players. They keep doubling down on the same bad bet. Public school students haven't been reading or doing math at their grade level for way too long. Last year, a horrifying 40% were regarded as not college or career ready after high school. Many states have adopted school choice. Iowa, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all provide money so families can choose the public or private school that works for them. And Kansas has one of the strongest public school choice programs in the nation. Nearly every family in Missouri is given exactly two choices for their children's education. They're assigned public school or learning online. That's it. Our neighbors trust their parents to choose the right school for their kids. Missouri doesn't. So enrollment is already shrinking. That will mean fewer high school graduates, college students, and workers. A bad bet indeed. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward, at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Colombo and Katie brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
I was left to my own device. days fell away with nothing to show.
Welcome back to Colombo Katie on 101.9 News Talk STL. Joining us now on the line, as I mentioned, and I really appreciate because I know he is very busy this time of year, is our buddy Derek from All Solutions Pest Control. Derek, thanks for your time this afternoon. And I mean, I know you guys are busy all year round, but I feel like this time of year is kind of especially hot, and no pun intended, and busy for you guys at All Solutions. How are you?
I'm doing well. They got May and June. We are crazy busy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I gotta ask you, I will get into the real stuff in a minute, but I gotta ask, because of the cicadas situation, how many phone calls about cicadas have you received in the last month or so? I would imagine that people think that you guys could just come take care of 3.2 billion cicadas.
we get some, but it's not as bad as you think, because most people realize we can't really do anything about it. But every now and then you'll get a call like, "Hey, cicadas at our house. Well, they flew inside." I mean, pick it up and throw it back outside. Right. We can't really stop the cicadas from coming, no matter what we do. Not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. No, I just figured that you guys were getting phone calls about the cicadas this year for sure. This time of year, and we've talked about this before, but at our house, for me, we moved into our new house a couple years ago, and I've joked about this before, but I don't know what the difference between a fluorescent mosquito and a St. Peter's mosquito is. But in St. Peter's, when we moved into our new home, it seemed like the mosquitoes there were twice as many and they were twice as big. And for us, the mosquito treatment that we have been using from you guys for the last couple of years has just been an absolute game changer. I know this time of year is big for mosquitoes, ants, and a few others. What are the big pests that people need to be aware of and could be having a problem with this time of year?
Yeah, you hit it on the head. Mosquitoes is a very popular one. They're starting to cut. Well, they've been coming out for a while now. Ants, we're getting a lot of ant calls. Carpenter bees, those are usually bigger the last few weeks. We've done some stuff for those. And then in the next month or two, also start getting a lot more calls with wasps. Mm-hmm. And then spiders. The spiders are more in the fall, but a lot of spiders and spider babies and stuff like that you're having here in the springtime. So we still get a decent amount of spider calls. The ants are for sure our number one call right now.
So I discovered you guys. I discovered All Solutions when we moved into our house a couple years ago. We've always at our house had a pest control service because I'm a big fan of prevention. I don't want to wait until there's a problem to call you guys. I want to keep that from happening. But I've noticed, especially with things like the mosquito treatment and others, that your service and your protection is truly better from firsthand experience, better than I've experienced with others. What is it about All Solutions Pest Control that sets you guys apart from anyone else out there?
So we try to use better quality products instead of using your knockoff and your generic and things like that. We want to use the quality product that's actually going to last. And instead of skipping away, just using a little, like on your mosquitoes, we try to use a little bit of extra stuff. So it's going to last a little bit longer, but also take care of the adults as well as the adulticide. So when the mosquitoes, it just doesn't kill the adults, but also stops the new ones from hatching and things like that. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure we're doing a really good job, but also training and quality control. That's one thing. A lot of companies, as you know, we're a small family business. And because of that, we can actually focus on training our guys and helping them know actually what they need to be doing instead of just kind of them out there and saying good luck.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to all your guys. Everybody that has come to our home over the last couple of years has been absolutely awesome. I got to specifically give a shout out to Blake, who is just awesome and part of the team there at All Solutions. And like I said, for us, it's more about prevention than it is, of course, if somebody has an ant problem or a wasp problem or something like that, you need to call All Solutions Pest Control. But how important is it, and what can you do for families to just prevent those types of things from developing?
Yeah, like I said, we're putting a barrier around the house. So our whole goal is to stop them from getting inside. And if we can start before the issue's already there, it's that much easier. So instead of taking several months to kind of get it down and all taken care of, if we can just have that barrier there the whole time, you're going to never have a severe infestation. I mean, it's pest control. You might see a little pest. I mean, it's nature of the I wish we could put a force field around your house, but we can't. If we can have that ahead of time, it just makes it so much easier because we're fighting from the front instead of coming from the back and making it a lot harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The mosquito can still fly from, my neighbor's house over and every now and then get us. But the difference between having that protection and not having it is really night and day. It's such a game changer. When you guys are going to these calls, especially like, let's specifically say ants, because that's one of the big ones this year. What are some of the common maybe mistakes that people make, or common maybe tips that you could give to people to, try to not make their home as vulnerable to like an ant infestation than that would stop that sort of thing from happening?
I say pet and dog food. We get there a lot of times where people leave a lot of pet and dog food, or it spills over by the back door. They forget to clean it up, or it's in like use sliding glass doors. They leave food in that little track area, and it's right outside. So then the ants go out, they scavenge, they look, and then hey, they find a little food. Then they send the signal to everyone else, hey, come get this food. And we've seen a lot of times pet food is very popular, and that's where we see a lot of ants and other insects coming for.
Wow. If you see the ants like in a tree in your yard or like in your garden or something, is that something to be concerned about? Like if it's in your backyard or if it's near your house but it's not quite in your house yet, would you suggest calling and getting that taken care of, or is that not as much of a worry if it's not in the house?
If they're far out in your yard, I don't think it's as big of a deal. Like I said, sometimes they're on a tree and then the tree's touching the house, and then they're getting onto the house that way. So usually that's if they're close to the house. It's more if you have like carpenter ants or stuff like that next to the house, I'd be more concerned. But sometimes you see, like, let's say it's out in your front sidewalk, you see a few pavement ants or something like that. Me personally, I don't think I wouldn't be too worried about it. I know some people hate it and will still come out and treat it and take care of it, no problem. But it's more when I have the ants crawling on the house right close to the house and stuff like that. But if you're, out in a flower bed and you're digging under the mulch and stuff like that, it's part of, nature. You're going to have some pests. You're outside.
Yeah. God. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. That's good to know. I think that's the important thing that people, want to hear, because, you don't know if, like, you see those ants in the backyard, or should you be worried? Or is that, like you said, it's just part of nature.
And that's it. Everyone has kind of their own pest threshold. So it's kind of up to that person.
Yeah, that's a good pest threshold. That's right. Ours is very low, and that's why we always have. That's why we keep the service year round, because we don't want them. We don't want them in our house any time of the year. We're talking to Derek from All Solutions Pest Control. Derek, we're almost out of time. Real quick, remind folks how they can learn more about All Solutions, take advantage of your $67 introductory special, and contact you if they have a pest problem or just want to prevent one from happening.
They can visit us online, our website, allsolutionspestcontrol.com, or then give us a call at 636-486-7888, and we'd love to help anyone out that's having some issues.
Awesome. Great stuff, Derek. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and we will talk to you again very soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
That is Derek from All Solutions Pest Control. All right, we are going to dive back into some headlines. We'll talk about that Supreme Court ruling and more with Dr. Randy Tobler next on Colombo and Katie.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Jurors in Donald Trump's criminal trial get a refresher on testimony and instructions. Correspondent Julie Walker.
At the start of day 2 of jury deliberations in Donald Trump's hush money trial, 2 court stenographers reread portions of testimony requested by jurors, one playing the lawyers, one playing the witnesses. Former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker and Michael Cohen. While not as lively and drama-filled as original testimony, it wasn't completely dry either. Before that, jurors got a reread of portions of the judge's instructions from him. That was also at their request. Several were jotting down notes, one juror nodding along at certain points. At criminal court in Manhattan, I'm Julie Walker.
Also at townhall.com, the U.S. economy grew at a sluggish 1.3% annual pace from January through March, the weakest quarterly rate since the spring of 2022, the government said in a downgrade from its previous estimate. Consumer spending rose, but at a slower pace than previously thought, a sign that high interest rates and lingering inflation are pressuring household budgets. South Korea's military says North Korea has fired a barrage of ballistic missiles toward its eastern sea.
The missile barrage came days after the North unsuccessfully attempted to launch a military reconnaissance satellite. Speaking to reporters, Japan's Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, said that the suspected missiles were believed to have landed in waters outside of Japan's exclusive economic zone. Kishida also said Tokyo strongly condemned the launches. He added they were in violation of UN Security Council resolutions against the North. I'm Karen Chavas.
A lower close on Wall Street. The Dow dropped 330 points. The NASDAQ was off 183. More at townhall.com.
Anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
With Progressive, you get more than savings. You get access to us through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
Oh, I see what you're doing here, Jamie. Giving me all these ways to stay in touch so I have no excuse not to. Well, you're in luck, because this guy's in the market for a new BFF.
Actually, all our customers can contact us this way.
Oh. Yeah, no, I was just kidding.
But I am always up for Taco Pizza! Jigsaw!
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. We have a nice night tonight. It's going to be dry, 61 for the overnight low. 82 in the afternoon, Friday, turning cloudy. There is a chance for a shower, but it's a slight chance late in the day and evening. A little better chance late in the evening and overnight. That's when our rain chances really start to ramp up. But have the umbrella for your Friday evening plans just in case. And then overnight, expect some rain. Saturday morning, we'll start off wet, low of 64. Then high of 76 in the afternoon. A few lingering showers or even thunder showers are possible Saturday afternoon, and then dry Saturday night. Sunday's mainly dry, 20% chance for an afternoon shower and a high of 86. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Fox News commentary.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg blames climate change for the increase in dangerous flight turbulence. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Something amazing is happening when power outages strike.
Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.
Yourself this. Is there anything Democrats won't blame on climate change? Nope, I don't think so. In his latest dereliction of his duty as transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg explained on CBS's Face the Nation that it is in fact climate change to blame for the recent uptick in severe in-flight turbulence. He cited that turbulence is up 15% and that the effects of climate change are already upon us in terms of transportation. This coming from the same man who also claims failing infrastructure is due to systemic racism. Or perhaps turbulence is due to weather patterns and the airplanes themselves are experiencing serious quality control issues. Just my wild assumption, Pete. You know, I don't know what DEI bin the Biden administration pulls from to find its cabinet members and officials, but for the sake of our country, I would sure ask that they please stop. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Great news for my sponsor, Napoli C. And it's no surprise to me, nor hundreds who have dined there. The first time I entered, it was clear Napoli C is unique. The decor, the fish, imaginative cocktails, and of course, Napoli C is right next door to Napoli 3 in St. Charles. Napoli 2 is in Town and Country. The original Cafe Napoli is in Clayton, and I'm honored to endorse each of them. Visit any of the Cafe Napolis.
The news and talk
we again confront enemies bent on our destruction
that matters to St. Louis.
We're receiving intelligence that outside agitators are starting to get involved in these campus protests.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I know a girl, she gets what she wants all the time, 'cause she's fine. But for an angel, she's a hot, hot mess. Make you so blind, but you don't mind. 'Cause she's an uptown, get around, anything goes, a girl. She's a hardcore candy store.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Thursday afternoon means we are going to talk to Dr. Randy Tobler. I want to remind you also that in about 20 minutes from now, we are going to check in with David Ryan from Cadre Asset Management. The markets have been on a bit of a slide here these last few days. Want to get an update and a little bit of an explanation, and we'll find out. Do we need to panic and chaos needs to break out, or if there's nothing to worry about and cooler heads will prevail? We'll find out when we talk to David in a few minutes. But as I mentioned, joining us now on the line, as he does every Thursday at this time, is Dr. Randy Tobler from the Randy Tobler Show, which you can hear every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Doc, a lot going on today. I want to talk about this Supreme Court ruling that is actually good news for once. But before we do that, wanted to get your thoughts on the Trump trial as the jury deliberates for day 2. Do you have any gut feeling about how long these deliberations are going to last and what is ultimately going to come from them?
Yeah, I'm sure not an expert at all, Tony, but I sure think the longer it goes on, I would think the defense has to be happier and happier because if it were a slam dunk, obviously, well, I mean, you'd love to be a slam dunk acquittal, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
So, anything short of a slam dunk conviction, I think, it continues to raise hope in my mind. But, the more I hear people, I talked to Susie Moore on our program in Columbia this morning, and I think she, like many, think that the best that anyone's going to do now is a hung jury. And even that will give, that's going to give this crazy, conflicted and in the tank for Biden media, even that some fodder for them to try to really stir things up among people that are undecided.
Yeah.
So I guess I worry more in a political sense. I don't see how anything but an acquittal, which will not happen.
Right.
I think it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
I think anything in the end really is, runs some risk for hurting Trump. We'll have to see how it works out. But I mean, this has been a travesty. It's been an absolute travesty. And you think about how many similar kind of activities go on that with some kind of exotic, crazy theory, just, playing Philadelphia lawyer in New York and, trying to twist the crazy New York law in the right way. How many people went unconvicted if Bragg had the same motivation, could have been convicted? Probably every businessman in New York.
If there's one, and I'm not sure this is going to happen. In fact, I'm not at all optimistic that this is going to happen. But if there's one possible positive that could come out of this, is that this more than ever exposes and shines a light on the two-tier justice system in this country. And maybe voters finally start to ask themselves the question, why is Donald Trump on trial again and Hunter Biden isn't and Hillary Clinton isn't? Hopefully that realization is made by some voters throughout this process. But other than that, this has just been an absolute sham, and I think bad for the country.
And what really troubles me is not only with Alvin Bragg, but with Fani Willis, Letitia James.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have prosecutors, attorney generals campaigning on I'm going to get Trump motivation.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, I am going to root out evil wherever it is, and I'm going to be tough on crime. I think that we expect our attorneys general to do that. But to take pot shots, at a former president, I mean, I just don't recall hearing individuals being singled out by attorney general or a district attorney candidate. I just don't recall that. Maybe I haven't monitored that in the right way, but I don't remember it happening before.
No, it's saying the quiet powder out loud, which we've seen more than ever in the last 4 years. It just boldly stating. We talked about this earlier with the Biden campaign and CNN and MSNBC. I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday the Biden campaign called out CNN and MSNBC by name in a Twitter post because they didn't cover the Biden rally. Apparently there was a Biden rally in Philadelphia yesterday that nobody knows about or attended. And they said they called out specifically CNN and MSNBC for not breaking away from Trump trial coverage to cover the Biden rally. And it used to be that's the kind, like, you expect those two media outlets, because they're, I guess, supposed to be on your side. They're supposed to be on your team, like, to just call them out publicly. Just the how bold that is shocking to me. Yeah. I mean, but it's the quiet part out loud, and that's what we see more than ever.
From the still picture I saw of that so-called rally, at least one of them that he was at in Philadelphia. I hope there was more than one, because the one from his standpoint, because from what I saw, the networks did him a favor by not breaking away, because there were more cicadas flying in the doors of that venue than there were people.
That's what Katie and I said earlier. No, you got the right rally, Doc. That's what Katie and I said that exact thing earlier.
Dr. Tobler, I think it's interesting whenever you evaluate these two different rallies that happened. You listen to someone like Charlemagne the God talk, and he got some pushback for being on Gutfeld. Tony talked about this yesterday. He got some pushback for being on Gutfeld about 2 nights ago. And he said that he is hearing from people that are not MAGA voters, that are not riding the Trump train, but they are very, very concerned about the border. They're very concerned about immigration. They're very concerned about their taxes. They're very concerned about inflation. And he highlighted saying, these are not rah rally Trump people. These are the average Joe that are talking to me because they know I have a platform and they know I have a microphone to speak about these issues. Do you think, specifically after seeing a rally like Biden had and then a rally like Donald Trump had, which of these candidates is speaking to the average voter?
I think that there are, well, I don't know about between those two candidates. The way I'm evaluating these unhappy or quietly dissatisfied with Biden voters. I think that there's a lot of people that aren't talking to Charlemagne the God, but have the same posture. And I think a lot of them are contemplating and will be between now and November. Do I vote for RFK or do I vote for Trump or do I stay home? I don't think I'm going to say too much publicly because it would be too embarrassing because I was so rah-rah Biden in 2020. But I'm just not going to pull the lever for him, and I frankly don't know what I'm going to do. So then it becomes a challenge for the Trump campaign for Donald to, behave as presidential as he can, emphasize those very issues, those kitchen table issues that every American's talking about. Like I said, some can't admit it because they need to save face among their, either their family or their coworkers or their friends. But it's incumbent on the Republicans and up and down the ballot, by the way, to, I think, just emphasize, just keep pounding on those issues. It's like it's the economy, stupid. It's immigration, stupid. It's law and order, stupid. It's foreign policy, stupid. I mean, maybe they should use the Marchand approach. Hey, take any one of the four. Give me one or two of the four, and can't you vote for Trump? I mean, that's got to be the way the argument has to go. And I can't help but think that there's going to be an awful lot of people that haven't told and won't tell anyone, maybe including pollsters, they're voting for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. And Doc, I think you're spot on. And I think that's exactly what happened to Hillary Clinton in 2016. Barack Obama, wildly popular, he motivated people, Democrat voters, to come out and vote for president. And Hillary, I don't think it was that, a whole bunch of people changed their political beliefs, but she just wasn't popular and she didn't motivate people to get up and go vote that day. And that is why she lost so spectacularly when, it was supposed to be this landslide going the other way. I think that's exactly what could and I think probably will happen with Joe Biden if we stay on the same path that we're on right now. Talking to Dr. Randy Tobler, I want to get your thoughts, Doc, on this Supreme Court ruling today. Let me lay it out there real quick so everybody is on the same page. And I, for one, some positive news to talk about. The Supreme Court today unanimously decided that the NRA, the National Rifle Association, plausibly alleged that the New York State Department of Financial Services violated their First Amendment rights by blacklisting them. In a decision written by Sonia Sotomayor, the High Court, quote, holds that the NRA plausibly alleged that then New York State Department of Financial Services Superintendent Myra Volo violated the First Amendment by coercing DFS-regulated entities to terminate their business relationships with the NRA in order to punish or suppress the NRA's advocacy. So basically, the quick background is in 2018, the NRA sued the Valo, this lady who was the superintendent of the New York State Department of Financial Services, because she had threatened businesses to not work, not get any state support or get any, be able to work with the state anyway if they also worked with the NRA. And there were backroom threats and all of these other things. Like I said, I could get into the details, but for the sake of time, I won't. In 2022, a federal appeals court dismissed the NRA's lawsuit and said Volo's actions were reasonable. But today, the Supreme Court said that ruling has been vacated. And in fact, the NRA's constitutional rights were, First Amendment rights were violated by this. And the big takeaways for me on this is that it was a unanimous ruling by the Supreme Court. And this decision, the decision was written by Justice Sotomayor, one of the most liberal justices on the court. I think that's a big win. I think that's a big win for obviously the NRA, but also for the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and just gun rights in general in the United States. What are your thoughts on this ruling?
Well, it goes to show you that occasional a Democrat in a robe can get it right. I guess I don't know, but no, seriously, I think that This reminds me eerily of sort of this, and I'm hoping maybe they will have this general mindset as they move along with these, with these tech proxy censure, suits that go on and continue to bubble to the top. Look, to me, it sounds like they're saying, look, the government cannot get in the way of commerce. You can't punish one private business because they do business with another private party, and one of the two both happen to disagree with your ideology, whether you're an appointed or an elected official. I mean, I don't know whether that's the essence of it, but I mean, as a layperson,
yeah, it is.
That's what I take away from it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is I love this part of the ruling, and I think it is so it says so much. So again, this is all stemming from 2018 when the NRA sued Volo, who at the time was acting at the order of the governor of New York at the time, which was Andrew Cuomo, of course, allegedly blacklisted the NRA and other Second Amendment rights groups, with businesses in New York effectively forcing banks and insurers to cut ties with those groups. And that was addressed specifically in the ruling today, which that part read, quote, "Today, the court reaffirms that government officials cannot attempt to coerce private parties in order to punish or suppress views that the government disfavors." Yeah. Score one for the good guys, Doc, right?
That's so good to see. And, I think about how, there were Secretary of State Ashcroft has said, Jay has said that it's a different story when they say, hey, look, we're not going to invest state funds with ESG because we don't think that they're going to have the same kind of returns, right? That's looking out specifically for the interest of the people. That's a different story, and that's not what's challenged here. At first, when I saw this, I thought, "Oh, is that going to get that in trouble?" But it's not going to. This would be like Ashcroft saying, "Hey, we're going to tell one of the many advisors that advertise on News Talk STL, if you are doing business with, or if you're giving a loan to the gun shop that does advertises on the station, we're not going to allow that, and we're going to get in the way of that." And obviously that's poppycock. That thank God they got it right. I mean, if any one of them would have dissented, I don't know. They should have been tested in the same geriatric center that Joe Biden should be tested. Something's wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still surprised by it. Even if it's common sense, seeing a unanimous ruling by the Supreme Court these days is very rare, and I think
I'll take it, man.
Says a lot. Yeah, for sure. That is Dr. Randy Tobler, who you can hear every Thursday with us here on Colombo and Katie, every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. here on News Talk STL, and every morning at the Eagle in Columbia, Mo. Doc, any tease about this weekend show? Too early to tell?
Will Sharp's going to be on.
Oh, fantastic.
And look forward to talking to Will to see what he's had to say about the trial. I mean, who knows what's going to happen the rest of today or tomorrow. But it'll be fun to hear Will's take on it.
Yeah, for sure. That is, can't miss that. Be listening. Listen every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. to the Dr. Randy Tobler Show here on News Talk STL. Doc, thanks so much for your time as always. Have a great rest of your day.
Hey, it was fun. Talk to you next time.
Great stuff there from Dr. Randy Tobler. And we are going to get an update, as we mentioned. Been a bad couple days for the stock market, and it closed just a few moments ago, and it was another bad day. So we are going to get a quick check on what is happening, why it's happening, and get some of those details when we talk to David Ryan from Cadre Asset Management. Also going to get into a couple more stories, including this report, Katie, that says that Donald Trump is considering offering Elon Musk a role in the White House if he wins. I don't know how that would even be possible.
Yeah.
Can he run Twitter and SpaceX?
I have some criticism for that.
If he's a part of it's an advisory role, but still super interesting. So we will do all of that and more next on Colombo and Katie.
She's so mean.
You're listening to Colombo and Katie.
But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
So we were talking to Skip Weber, of course, from Weber Chevrolet on the show yesterday during Closest Cabinet, and found out that this is a great time if you are looking for a new vehicle to visit one of the Weber Chevrolet locations. There are 3 locations in the St. Louis area. There is Creve Coeur in Missouri and Columbia and Granite City in Illinois. If it's been a couple of years since you were looking at new vehicles, you will be glad to know that a lot of the inventory issues that were so bad in recent years have gotten much better selection. And it's a great time to take advantage of that at Weber Chevrolet. Of course, Weber also going to give you the best deal on a new vehicle. They're going to offer you the most on your trade-in. And above all of that, and what for me sets Weber Chevrolet apart from the rest, is how much they take care of you in that vehicle for the entire time that you own it. Their service departments are absolutely second to none, and I think is the reason that so many St. Louis families for generations have trusted Weber Chevrolet. They have been in the St. Louis area for over 120 years, a stat that just blows my mind every time that I think about it. And of course, you don't stick around for that long in the same community if you are not doing right by the people in that community. And that is why we trust Weber Chevrolet with vehicles in our home. And I think that you can trust them as well with your family vehicles. So if you're looking for a new vehicle, make sure you check out one of the 3 Weber Chevrolet dealerships and learn more about what's happening at all 3 of those dealerships just by going to WeberChevrolet.com.
Are you concerned about the future of America, the economy, the courts, threats to our freedoms? Tim Jones here. Join News Talk STL for Saving America 2024, June 25th at the St. Charles Funny Bone. Hear from renowned experts Joel Griffith and Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation as they analyze the critical issues facing our nation and provide insight into securing America's prosperity. Secure your tickets now at newstalkstl.com before they sell out.
Brought to you by West and Mid Rivers News Magazines and the St. Louis Young Republicans.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Warning, what I'm about to tell you, don't start popping champagne corks. Here it is. Legacy Democrats are more and more worried Biden will lose to Trump. One source in Politico, who did not want to be named, said the latest polling numbers, even in blue states, is causing Biden supporters to freak out. One New York political leader went on the record, Mark Levine. He said, we cannot continue taking working class voters for granted. Interesting. They have been doing it. Now they acknowledge it, right? But he said all this rhetoric on climate, forgiving student loans, that's not moving swing voters nor working class voters. And he points out in New York State, there's been a rising red wave going back to at least 2020. Remember 2020? And then you got Doug Schoen, a Democrat analyst and advisor. He said they're not listening to us, and they have no message on the southern border, no message on inflation. All they can do is demonize Donald Trump. They don't have anything to run on. He said, I don't see any chance of them winning. All right, now again, with all of this, don't be thinking that you don't need to vote. No, you need to vote. You make sure you vote. But maybe you could start chilling the champagne.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Question, do you know what vermiculite is? It is an insulation in the attics of hundreds of thousands of homes and public buildings. Looks like kitty litter, but often contains asbestos. Wellington Environmental is the largest company in the Midwest that can remove that hazard for you. Wellington has what is called the General, a powerful industrial vacuum that can suck vermiculite out of the attic. Hang on, there's something else you should know. Many of you might qualify for up to a $4,000 rebate. You should at least contact Wellington to see if you qualify. And here's something else. Wellington arrives at the time they give you, not sometime within 4 hours. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Dr. Tobler, Missouri is looking to execute an inmate diagnosed with heart failure. Attorneys are requesting that he not be executed because of that condition.
Boy, I scratch my head on this one. Someone, maybe he read some inside information about how to avoid execution by getting heart failure, and he started adding extra salt to his hamburger. I don't know.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. If you are sick and tired of the corporate news bubble, if you like unedited information free from corporate money, if you want straight talk with no script, join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on The Rob Carter Show.
Live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
I have a picture pinned to my wall.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. We are going to get a quick update on the stock market, which has had a bad few days here from David Ryan from Cadre Asset Management in just a moment. But first, as announced yesterday on the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show, we here at News Talk STL have an event coming up. Katie, can you tell us all about it?
Saving America 2024, the economy and the courts. We are so thrilled about this event. We are going to be partnering with the Heritage Foundation and bringing you guys two favorites that you hear all the time at News Talk STL. Joel Griffith and Zach Smith, our legal eagle, are going to be joining us June 25th at the St. Charles Funny Bone. That is the one located on Streets of St. Charles. We are thrilled for these guys to be able to come in, fly in to be here with us. Special thanks to the St. Louis Young Republicans. We are so happy that we are able to partner with them. This is June 25th. The doors open at 6:30. The event starts at 7. Free. It is a free event, people.
Free.
But you do need to get tickets. So go to newstalkstl.com/SavingAmerica2024, or you can just go to newstalkstl.com if that's easier for you. And you will see our event. It's on our homepage. Get your tickets because we do need to have those, but it is a free event.
Yep.
June 25th. Come on, people.
Got to reserve your spot. So as Katie said, it is absolutely free, but you got to have a ticket to attend. So newstalkstl.com for everything, correct?
Yes.
All right. As I mentioned now, and as I mentioned earlier, as this news about the stock market has been making headlines, I am not the person that is going to be able to explain this or completely understand why it's happening. But I know somebody who does, and that is our next guest.
And now, live from the intersection of estate and financial planning, here's David Ryan.
David Ryan, president of Cadre Asset Management. If I have any questions regarding the financial sector in any way, David Ryan is the person that I ask. David, thank you so much for last second here, sort of taking a moment out of your day to join us. How are you?
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me in. It's so great to be with you, and I appreciate the confidence as we have this conversation.
Thank you. So I know that there are anytime we're talking about the markets or the financial sector, that we can go deep into the weeds. Without getting too far into that, what basically is happened or is happening over the last few days to that has sparked these losses that are now I guess a little bit of a trend over the last several days.
Sure, and nothing worth panicking over. As you kind of alluded to coming into this segment, is this a panic moment? Is it, what is this? And this is actually somewhat normal and doesn't go beyond anticipation or expectations, really. What we've seen coming off of an earnings season is just that. The headlines were earnings. How did earnings go? Well, they were mixed, and some entities did great and some had mixed results or completely missed in terms of your larger companies, which then has that systemic cause for concern. Why are these larger companies missing? Is this the calm before the storm? What can we get from an economic indicator to give and frame this right? So I will tell you, markets are extremely efficient and very, very few things are ever priced in. And so this is a consumer reacting to conditions of the market, right? And pulling money off the table and intelligently as well. You can't time the markets per se, but there's nothing where there's no problems with drying powder, as they say, and poising yourself for an actual buying opportunity, which is what I see us on the cusp of. This Friday actually has a data point release, which is going to be the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, the PCE, which is an inflation data point that the Fed watches very, very closely. That followed with Monday's data for the manufacturing purchasing manufacturers index to be out. That'll tell us how the economy is doing from a manufacturing standpoint. And so we'll actually be able to tell and see stability in numbers or not see that stability in numbers and what those effects are. But as I charted out the American markets, just for perspective, taking a very historical approach and then 5-year, 10-year, 1-year, 3-year, shorter terms and such, all I saw and recognized is the power of the American markets. And don't ever let anyone scare you out of the markets. The power of the American markets is so extremely strong. We are the best economy in the world. And if you're preparing or had fear drive you out of the markets, then poise yourself for that buying opportunity and don't be afraid of them.
That is fantastically optimistic news, and yeah, I was joking earlier, and I kind of knew you wouldn't be sounding the alarms and say it's chaos has broken out. But that is great to hear. And before we let you go, as this continues, and right now, hopefully, it's just one of those normal sort of ebbs and flows. Not necessarily with this specifically, but how long, when does it become a concern for you when something like this is happening? How long does it how many days does it need to last before it sort of crosses a line, if this is even how it works, like for you, like before it becomes a something that's a little bit more of a problem, in your opinion?
So we follow the trend analysis and those kind of things. And I would encourage people to follow our thought leadership, with the things that we produce on a weekly basis. But, when the markets are as efficient as they are, and for example, they were pricing in 6 cuts, earlier, and now they're doing 1 and 1.5. They're so ridiculously efficient that I don't get concerned unless we would see an extreme drop in our annual GDP numbers or annualized figures. It was just revised recently, but it would take a lot. Now, you're also going to recognize that I've never used the phrase soft landing. I've said that, the economic talking heads are, but that's not verbiage that I'm using, and I wouldn't set anybody's expectation up for that. I've never used that phrase. From our expectations and what our thought leadership is doing, we anticipate to use air quotes here, some type of storm-esque activity, right? But what does that mean? Well, it means that we'll eventually have to go through rate cuts and we'll have these triggers and these kind of things. And so as I chart out these kind of things and historical events, on that longer term, all they become is blips on charts. And so we're seeing that minutia of, okay, here's a timing in our year that we've got to address these things from a factual standpoint. We are seeing weakness in data. We are seeing a Fed that is, a centralized decision-making unit that is pulling detrimental levers. Well, what do we expect that result to be? Well, a slowdown of the economy. That's exactly what we're seeing. we're on the cusp of that getting slightly to that halt point or that terminal rate. I think you will start to hear that terminal verbiage used, but I wouldn't project any rate cuts this year. That's not something I would say. And I wouldn't say soft landing. So is there economic indicators we can watch and look out for and try to make sense of this? Yes, but, overall systemic concern of our American markets so far, our back office discussions and what are we doing and how are we addressing our asset allocation standpoint? Are we going to raise cash for various sectors? How we address that behind the scenes is a lot simpler than reckless reaction. We are very principled in our approach, and so we don't get too reactionary when we just simply see headlines or movements of this nature.
David Ryan, president of Cadre Asset Management. I knew that he would have the answers and the explanation for us. And I really, once again, on especially last minute basis like today, appreciate you coming on and giving us that update today. Really appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Back at you. Great stuff there. David Ryan, president of Cadre Asset Management. David and his team at Cadre can help you, your business, your family at any stage of your financial journey. And you can learn more and contact David and his team at Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or at cadreassetmgmt.com. All right, Katie, we don't have a whole lot of time to talk about this, but Donald Trump is considering offering billionaire Elon Musk an advisory role in the White House if, of course, Trump wins the election in November. This is from the Wall Street Journal. So pretty reliable report there. Sounds like nothing but chaos to me.
I don't like the idea of someone running something as important as Twitter and then being involved in the government. I think that that's a very bad move. I don't like the idea of someone running Facebook or any social media giant being involved in the government in any way, shape, or form.
If Mark Zuckerberg were joining the Biden administration in an advisory role, I think we'd all be up in arms.
Yeah, it's
important to flip
yucky.
test this. It does though. What to me more than anything, this just illustrates how much change has happened in the political climate in the United States that Elon Musk
is now
being discussed as
in a consideration
of a Republican White House. I mean, the change and the different direction that the Biden administration and the Trump effect has put on this country cannot be understated. All right, that's going to do it for us. Katie and I'll be back tomorrow at 2. The O'Reilly Report is next. Then the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Look at our life. Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the high